محمد وآل محمد صلوات. صلی علی محمد وآل محمد. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We'll start the program today with Tilawat al-Quran Pak. I invite Brother Imtiaz to recite Surah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أما يتساءلون عن النبأ العظيم الذي هم فيه مختلفون كلا سيعلمون ثم كلا سيعلمون ألم نجعل الأرض مهادا والجبال أوتادا وخلقناكم أزواجا وجعلنا نومكم سباتا وجعلنا الليل لباسا وجعلنا النهار معاشا وبنينا فوقهم سبعا شدادا وجعلنا سراجا وهاجا وأنزل من المحسرات ماء ثجاجا لنخرج به حبا ونبعثا وجنات ألفافا إن يوم الفصل كانت ميقاتا يوم ينفع في السور فتحتون أفواجا وفتحت السماء فكانت أبوابا وسيرت الجبال فكانت سرابا إن جهنم كانت مرصادا للطاغين مآبا لابثين فيها أحقابا لا يذوقون فيها بردا ولا شرابا إلا حميما وغساقا جزاء وفاقا إنهم كانوا لا يرجون حساب وكذبوا بآياتنا كذاب وكل شيء أحصيناه كتاب فذوقوا فلن نزيدكم إلا عذاب إنا للمتقين مفاز حدائق وأغناب وقوائب أتراب وكأسا دهاق لا يسمعون فيها لغوا ولا كذاب جزاء من ربك العطاء حساب رب السماوات والأرض وما بينهما الرحمن لا يملكون منه خطاب يوم يقوم الروح والملائكة صفا يتكلمون إلا من أذن له الرحمن وقال الصواب ذلك اليوم الحق فمن شاء اتخذ إلى ربه مآب إنا أنزلناكم عذابا قريب يوم ينظر المرء ما قدمت يداه ويقول الكافر ويقول فر ويقول الكافر يا ليتني كنتم تراب صدق الله العلي العظيم.
Jazakallah, brother. That was Brother Imtiaz. Please recite a loud salawat from. Now I request Brother Asif to recite Dua Kumail.
صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إني أسألك برحمتك التي وسعت كل شيء وبقوتك التي قهرت بها كل شيء وخضع لها كل شيء وذل لها كل شيء وبجبروتك التي غلبت بها كل شيء وبعزتك التي لا يقوم لها شيء وبعظمتك التي ملأت كل شيء وبسلطانك الذي على كل شيء وبوجهك الباقي بعد فناء كل شيء وبأسمائك التي ملأت أركان كل شيء وبعلمك الذي أحاط بكل شيء وبنور وجهك الذي أضاء له كل شيء. يا نور يا قدوس يا نور يا قدوس يا نور يا أول الأولين ويا آخر الآخرين. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تهتك العصم. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل النقم. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تغير النعم. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحبس الدعاء. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تقطع الرجاء. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل البلاء. اللهم اغفر لي كل ذنب أذنبته وكل خطيئة أخطأتها. اللهم إني أتقرب إليك بذكرك وأستشفع بك إلى نفسك وأسألك بجودك أن تدنيني من قربك وأن توزعني شكرك وأن تلهمني ذكرك. اللهم إني أسألك سؤال خادع متذلل خاشع أن تسامحني وترحمني وتجعلني بقسمك راضيا قانعا وفي جميع الأحوال متواضعا. اللهم وأسألك سؤال من اشتدت فاقته وانزل بك عند الشدائد حاجته وقدم فيما عندك رغبته. اللهم عظم سلطانك وعلى مكانك وخفي مكرك وظهر أمرك وغلب قهرك وجرت قدرتك ولا يمكن الفرار من حكومتك. اللهم لا أجد لذنوبي غافرا ولا لقبائحي ساترا ولا لشيء من عملي القبيح بالحسن مبدلا غيرك. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك وبحمدك ظلمت نفسي وتجرأت بجهلي وسكنت إلى قديم ذكرك لي ومنك علي. اللهم مولاي كم من قبيح سترته، وكم من فادح من البلاء أقلته، وكم من عثار وقيته، وكم من مكروه دفعته، وكم من ثناء جميل لست أهلا له نشرته. اللهم عظم بلائي وافرط بي سوء حالي، وقصرت بي أعمالي، وقعدت بي أغلالي، وحبسني عن نفعي بعد آمالي، وخدعتني الدنيا بغرورها، ونفسي بخيانتها ومطالي. يا سيدي فأسألك بعزتك أن لا يحجب عنك دعائي سوء عملي وفعالي، ولا تفضحني بخفي ما اطلعت عليه من سري، ولا تعاجلني بالعقوبة على ما عملته في خلواتي من سوء فعلي وإساءتي، ودوام تفريطي وجهالتي، وكثرة شهواتي وغفلتي. وكن اللهم بعزتك لي في كل الأحوال رؤوفا، وعلي في جميع الأمور عطوفا. إلهي وربي من لي غيرك أسأله كشف ضري والنظر في أمري. إلهي ومولاي أجريت علي حكما اتبعت فيه هوى نفسي، ولم أحترس فيه من تزيين عدوي، فغرني بما أهوى وأسعده على ذلك القضاء، فتجاوزت بما جرى علي من ذلك بعد حدودك، وخالفت بعد أوامرك، فلك الحجة علي في جميع ذلك، ولا حجة لي فيما جرى علي فيه قضاؤك، وألزمني حكمك وبلاؤك. وقد أتيتك يا إلهي بعد تقصير وإسرافي على نفسي، معتذرا نادما منكسرا مستقيلا مستغفرا منيبا مقرا مذعنا معترفا، لا أجد مفرا مما كان مني، ولا مفزعا أتوجه إليه في أمري غير قبولك عذري، وإدخالك إياي في سعة من رحمتك. اللهم فاقبل عذري، وارحم شدة ضري، وفكني من شد وثاقي. يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني. ورقة جلدي ودقة عظمي، يا من بدأ خلقي وذكري وتربيتي وبري وتغذيتي، هبني لابتداء كرمك وسالف برك بي. يا إلهي وسيدي وربي، أتراك معذبي بنارك بعد توحيدك، وبعد ما انطبع عليه قلبي من معرفتك، ولهج به لساني من ذكرك، واعتقده ضميري من حبك، وبعد صدق اعترافي ودعائي خاضعا لربوبيتك. هيهات أنت أكرم من أن تضيع من ربيته، أو تبعد من أدنيته، أو تشرد من آويته، أو تسلم إلى البلاء من كفيته ورحمته. وليت شعري يا سيدي وإلهي ومولاي، أتسلط النار على وجوه خرت لعظمتك الساجدة، وعلى ألسن نطقت بتوحيدك صادقة وبشكرك مادحة، وعلى قلوب اعترفت بإلهيتك محققة، وعلى ضمائر حوت من العلم بك حتى صارت خاشعة، وعلى جوارها سعت إلى وطون تعبدك طائعة، وأشارت باستغفارك مذعنة. ما هكذا الظن بك ولا أخبرن بفضلك عنك يا كريم يا رب. وأنت تعلم ضعفي عن قليل من بلاء الدنيا وعقوباتها وما يجري فيها من المكاره على أهلها، على أن ذلك بلاء ومكروه قليل مكثه يسير بقاؤه قصير مدته، فكيف احتمال لبلاء الآخرة وجليل وقوع المكاره فيها وهو بلاء تطول مدته ويدوم مقامه ولا يخفف عن أهله، لأنه لا يكون إلا عن غضبك وانتقامك وسخطك، وهذا ما لا تقوم له السماوات والأرض يا سيدي، فكيف بي وأنا عبدك الضعيف الذليل الحقير المسكين المستكين. يا إلهي وربي وسيدي ومولاي، لأي الأمور إليك أشكو ولما منها أضج وأبكي، لأليم العذاب وشدته أم لطول البلاء ومدته؟ فلئن شيرتني للعقوبات مع أعدائك وجمعت بيني وبين أهل بلائك وفرقت بيني وبين أحبائك وأوليائك، فهبني يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي وربي صبرت على عذابك فكيف أصبر على فراقك، وهبني صبرت على حر نارك فكيف أصبر عن النظر إلى كرامتك، أم كيف أسكن في النار ورجائي عفوك، فبعزتك يا سيدي ومولاي أقسم الصادقة لئن تركتني ناطقة لأضجن إليك بين أهلها ضجيج الآملين، ولا صرخن إليك صراخ المستصرخين، ولا أبكين عليك بكاء الفاقدين، ولو نادينك أين كنت يا ولي المؤمنين، يا غاية آمال العارفين، يا غياث المستغيثين. يا حبيب قلوب الصادقين ويا إله العالمين، أفتراك سبحانك يا إلهي وبحمدك تسمع فيها صوت عبد مسلم سجن فيها بمخالفته وذاق طعم عذابها بمعصيته وحبس بين أطباقها بجرمه وجريرته، وهو يضج إليك الضجيج مؤملا لرحمتك ويناديك بلسان أهل توحيدك ويتوسل إليك بربوبيتك. يا مولاي فكيف يبقى في العذاب وهو يرجو ما سلف من حلمك، أم كيف تؤلمه النار وهو يأمل فضلك ورحمتك، أم كيف يحرقه لهيبها وأنت تسمع صوته وترى مكانه، أم كيف يشتمل عليه زفيرها وأنت تعلم ضعفه، أم كيف يتقلقل بين أطباقها وأنت تعلم صدقه، أم كيف تزجره زبانيتها وهو يناديك يا ربه، أم كيف يرجو فضلك في عتقه منها فتتركه فيها. هيهات ما ذلك الظن بك ولا المعروف من فضلك ولا مشبه لما عاملت به الموحدين من برك وإحسانك، فباليقين أقطع لولا ما حكمت به من تعذيب جاحديك وقضيت به من إخلاد معانديك لجعلت النار كلها بردا وسلاما وما كان لأحد فيها مقر ولا مقاما، لكنك تقدست أسماؤك أقسمت أن تملأها من الكافرين من الجنة والناس أجمعين، وأن تخلد فيها المعاندين، وأن تجل ثناؤك قلت مبتدئا وتطولت بالإنعام متكرما، أفمن كان مؤمنا كمن كان فاسقا لا يستوون. إلهي وسيدي فأسألك بقدرة التي قدرتها وبالقضية التي حتمتها وحكمتها وغلبت من عليه أجريتها أن تهب لي في هذه الليلة وفي هذه الساعة كل جرم أجرمته وكل ذنب أذنبته وكل قبيح أسررته وكل جهل عملته كتمته أو أعلنته أخفيته أو أظهرته وكل سيئة أمرت بإثباتها الكرام الكاتبين الذين وكلتهم بحفظ ما يكون مني وجعلتهم شهودا علي مع جوارحي وكنت أنت الرقيب علي من ورائهم والشاهد لما خفي عنهم وبرحمتك أخفيته وبفضلك سترته وأن توفر حظي من كل خير تنزله أو إحسان تفضله أو رب أو بر تنشره أو رزق تبسطه أو ذنب تغفره أو خطأ تستره يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا رب. يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي ومالك رقي يا من بيده ناصيتي يا عليما بضري ومسكنتي يا خبيرا بفقري وفاقتي يا ربي يا ربي يا رب. أسألك بحقك وقدسك وأعظم صفاتك وأسمائك أن تجعل أوقاتي في الليل والنهار بذكرك معمورة وبخدمتك موصولة وأعمالي عندك مقبولة حتى تكون أعمالي وأورادي كلها بردا واحدا وحالي في خدمتك سرمدا يا سيدي يا من عليه معولي يا من إليه شكوت أحوالي يا ربي يا ربي يا رب. قوي على خدمتك جوارحي واشدد على العزيمة جوانحي وهب لي الجد في خشيتك والدوام في الاتصال بخدمتك حتى أسرح إليك في ميادين السابقين وأسرع إليك في المبادرين وأشتاق إلى قربك في المشتاقين وأدنو منك دنو المخلصين وأخافك مخافة الموقنين وأجتمع في جوارك مع المؤمنين. اللهم ومن أرادني بسوء فأرده ومن كادني فكده واجعلني من أحسن عبيدك نصيبا عندك وأقربهم منزلة منك وأخصهم زلفة لديك فإنه لا ينال ذلك إلا بفضلك وجد لي بجودك واعطف علي بمجدك واحفظني برحمتك واجعل لساني بذكرك لهجا وقلبي بحبك متيما ومن علي بحسن إجابتك وقلني عثرتي واغفر زلتي فإنك قضيت على عبادك بعبادتك وأمرتهم بدعائك وضمنت لهم الإجابة فإليك يا ربي نصبت وجهي وإليك يا ربي مددت يدي فبعزتك استجب لي دعائي وبلغني منايا ولا تقطع من فضلك رجائي واكفني شر الجن والإنس من أعدائي يا سريع الرضا يا سريع الرضا. اغفر لمن لا يملك إلا الدعاء فإنك فعال لما تشاء يا من اسمه دواء وذكره شفاء وطاعته غنى ارحم رأس ماله الرجاء وسلاحه البكاء يا سابغ النعم يا دافع النقم يا نور المستوحشين في الظلم يا عالما لا يعلم صل على محمد وآل محمد وافعل بما أنت أهله وصلى الله على رسوله والأئمة الميامين من آله وسلم تسليما كثيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. أسألكم الدعاء جميعا.
Jazakallah, Brother Asif. Please recite a loud salawat. Wa ali Muhammad. Tonight's program is sponsored by Sister Nahid Naqvi. Please recite a Fatiha for all your marhumin and for the following marhumin: Shabir Hassan Rizvi, Muhammad Haider Naqvi, Kaniz Bano, Zakia Khatun, Server Hussain Zaidi, Afsar Hussain Zaidi, and all marhumin on the monument of Zahra outside. Alhamdulillah. Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat. One general announcement, ICZ is planning to have a workshop with Maulana Amin Rastani on December 17th and 18th. The topic will be death and barzakh. Details are still forthcoming, so keep an eye on WhatsApp groups and our website, as well as you can reach any of the BOTs. Now I invite Maulana Hadi Yassin to address the community. Please recite a loud salawat.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وشفيع ذنوبنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين واللعنة الدائمة لأعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى لقاء يوم الدين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. May Allah, inshallah, accept our prayers, our amal, our dua, inshallah, and reward us for our presence tonight, night of Jum'ah, Shab Jum'ah, inshallah, and make it zakhira and reward for dunya wal akhirah. Bibarakat salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Alhamdulillah, we have the tawfiq, another week, another important night. May Allah, inshallah, make it an important blessings for all of us. As you know, we are following, alhamdulillah, the course of history of Islam. And in this section, we're focusing on the tariq and the history of Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Which is from the before Islam, the whole series that we started before Islam, what happened, all the way through the beginning of Islam. And we're at the third of Hijri, the third year after the Hijrah. Last session, we talked about, the marriage of Amir al-Mu'mineen and Hazrat at that time. Before, we talked about the war Badr. And inshallah, tonight, we're going to talk about another important section in the history of Islam, one of the most important piece of the history of Islam, full of teachings and lessons for all of us. As we mentioned, the life of Ahlul Bayt, the life of Rasulullah, from all aspects are full of teachings. In the peace, you should find lessons. In a war, you should find lessons from them. In the personal life, you should find lessons in them. It doesn't matter what aspects of their lives, there are always, teachings for us. Imagine Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He sent His prophet as a human being among the people. In different aspects of his life, he's going to teach us how you need to react, how you need to behave, how you need to be as a true Muslim in these scenarios, right? Doesn't matter if you're in peace, everything is fine. Doesn't matter if your life is in turbulence, if you have issues, if it's war around you, right? It can be like the disturbances in life. You need to know what you need to do in order to stay strong in the path of Iman. One of the most important battles in Islam that happened is the Battle of Uhud. Very important, and it's full of, the ibrah, full of points in the history of Muslims. When we review, inshallah, I don't think we can finish all in one session. It's a very important and a long history regarding the war Uhud. Those who went to Hajj or Umrah, they took them to Kuh Uhud, Mountain Uhud. They did the ziyarat of the Shuhada of Uhud. Inshallah, we'll show the picture as well. That's so important. There's it is part of the history that happened. So moving forward, we mentioned that if you remember, the Battle of Badr happened because the Yahud, the Jews of Medina and others, they keep, bothering, causing issue, conspiracy against Islam and Rasulullah. And after the Battle of Badr, when they realized how strong Muslims are, before there's like a group of, people are like together, that's fine, whatever they want to do. After they realized, no, Muslims could defeat Quraysh and Kuffar, they started being so scared. Then they started adding into their conspiracy and issue and troubles. And many wars, by the way, these big wars that you hear, like Uhud, Khandaq, Badr, these are the big ones. Between and among this, many little wars and Qazawat that Rasulullah himself, he participated as well, happened with this group, with that group. Very quickly, for example, the Jews of Medina, Bani Ghaynaqa, they started causing trouble and problem physically for Muslims and Rasulullah. So Rasulullah, he had to siege the fortress that they had. They went inside to, again, make a plot against Muslims and everything. Finally, Rasulullah had to, siege them, and then they all surrendered and they left Medina, right? So because they keep causing issue and problems, they had issue from the beginning with Muslims. So it's a piece of history. They wanted to have everything for themselves. They wanted the Prophet to be for them, so it'd make more money and make more possession for them. And when they realized, no, this Prophet is different, they started causing trouble. Anyhow, that caused more and more problem. So among as we mentioned, in the third of Hijri, Battle of Uhud started. And that is because the one who actually made that happen, Ka'b Ashraf, is one of the Jews of Medina who went to Mecca as a trip. He went to Mecca, had a meeting with the Buzurgan of Mecca, and he started saying, "Ya Allah, you see what happens, what they're doing, they're causing issue for us." He started, encouraging them, reminding them about their people who were killed in Badr, to cause them to be more encouraged to go against Muslim. And unfortunately, he started talking about how beautiful are the women of Muslims. When the intention is wrong, you use every single things in order to get to your goal, right? The intention of Muslims is a sacred, holy intention. Look at the intention. He started bringing that fitna and that, stubbornness, that wrath in the Quraysh and Kuffar of Mecca to encourage them to go fight. And beside that, because it's all about this dunyavi aspects and shahawat for them, he started in the history talking about the women of Muslims. Oh my God, you don't know what it is. So why? Because if you go attack them, so you're going to make them asir and captive, and then what? They're going to be your slaves, your kanis. So you're going to take advantage of them, right? So to different ways of, encouraging. That's the jibha of kufr. It's always like this. Try to use any excuse to get to the goal. The jibha and the path and the side of haqq, only one reason. In the story of Karbala, you can see it. At the time of Imam Hussein, at the side of Imam Hussein, there's only one reason to join Imam Hussein. What is what? You need to support haqq and Imam of your time, period. On the other side, some comes for money, some comes for position, some comes they're scared of that, right? Multiple reasons that happens. Anyhow, Ka'b Ashraf started doing this, and he started the war and this fire of the war, and then the Quraysh, the blood is just like boiling and we have to do it. Abu Sufyan, after the battle of the Badr, that he was, defeated and everything, he swore, he said, I'm not going to even sleep at home and with my wife until I take the revenge from Muslims. This type of, promises they were making themselves. And he said, no more, there shouldn't be any mourning in Mecca for those who were killed in Badr, to keep that, wrath alive, so they will go to take their revenge. Anyhow, so the Quraysh decided to do that, and they said, we're going to cover the whole cost. Imagine the whole war that we mentioned, 3,000-4,000 people are, the whole Quraysh are paying the cost of that, right? So it's just 3,000 to 4,000 history saying just the soldiers who, participated. And in this specific war, they brought a lot of women with themselves. Quraysh. Why? It was not used to. Why they did it? Two reasons. One, they wanted to encourage the bravery that if you be defeated, if you retreat, your women will be what? Captured by Muslims, so you shouldn't do that. That's what's so serious for them. Second, through the history saying they were trying to bring that shahwat to the soldiers of Quraysh and Kuffar, right? To work on that desires, the dunyavi and sexual desires for them, to encourage them that you need to go and attack and all these things. Again, look at the side of kufr, what kind of things they bring. On the other side, Muslims are coming based on what? Faith, iman, haqq, based on the truth, based on following the imam of the time, the prophet of the time, right? But on that side, look what they're doing. It's narrated that this Zanan, they call it Zanan Mughanniyah, the singers, they were among the lines of the armies and the soldiers. They were singing and encouraging them with their shi'r and then poetries. So they were encouraging them to what? To go fight, do not come back, even during the war. Go forward and stuff like that, right? Anyhow, so they started doing this and they brought it. And on the other side, so they are coming full forcefully to defeat Muslims, to get rid of everybody, to kill Rasulullah. We'll talk inshallah about this. So with whatever they can, they brought a lot of slaves who were very professional in different skills of war. One of them you heard probably, name what? Wahshi ibn Harb. Wahshi, you might have heard about his name. He's the one who killed Hamza, Sayyid al-Shuhada. Hamza is Sayyid al-Shuhada, right? So Hamza is what? Is uncle of Rasulullah, one of the most favorite uncle, that the one who supported Rasulullah a lot throughout the time of Islam at the beginning. Is the bravest, everybody is scared of him. So Abu Sufyan, Hind, the mother of who? Muawiyah. We said we put these pieces of history together, we realize the tariq of Ahlul Bayt and what happened. The mother of Muawiyah, one of the worst women in the whole history of Arab, right? You will go to the history, you see what kind of person she is. So she hired who? Wahshi. Wahshi is one of the best in terms of, throwing the spears. We call it zubin or spears. Very professional. And she said, if you killed either Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, or Ali or Hamza, you'll be free. Parenthesis. Why these three people if other people are so important beside these three? If other Sahabi are so important, why these three? Right? We don't need to prove anything else. These three should be the head of Islam at that time, right? That's why you kill this. Otherwise, you said, if you kill someone, if you kill Abu Zar, if you kill first Khalifa, second, if you kill, I don't know, Ammar, Yasir, right? None of this. Only Ali, Rasulullah. Ali or Hamza. These are the heads of Islam, right? You kill this, one of them is enough. You kill one, you're going to be free to go. You're going to tariq tahlili. We're analyzing history, right? What is the other point? Any other interpretation we can have for it? Amir al-Mu'minin is the most important one. At the war Bad, you know how old was he? 26. We had others above 60, right? Well, Islam is not about the age. Hazrat Isa, when he was born, he started talking Atani al-Kitab, no? I'm the prophet, Allah gave me the book. Anyhow, so kill one of these, so you're going to be free. Which again, he couldn't. He said, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I can't. A lot of soldiers around him, I cannot do it. Ali, he went to kill Amir al-Mu'minin. He was ambushing and he was like throwing it, like the spear that he had. It was very professional, like to the point. He said, Ali, I can't do it because when he's fighting, he's aware of everywhere, all the directions, even his back. He was throwing from the back, just from the front, everybody will see it, right? The judge. So he said, when he's fighting, he knows everywhere. I can't do it because I know he's not. Hamza, he's like a lion. When he attacks, he's just attacking forward. He doesn't understand what is his back. Like he was analyzing his enemy, quote unquote, right? It's like, I can do Hamza, and he unfortunately went and finished Hamza, right? These people are very important, the most important. That's why the enemies, the Quraysh knows to get rid of who, right? They're very cunning. Anyhow, so finally that Kaaba Ashraf that I told you, the Jews who caused it, the youth of Os, they went inside his fortress. Anyhow, they killed him, get rid of him. You can't do these things to Muslims. But yeah, as soon as that happened, we talked about, the intelligence service of Rasulullah, he had people in Medina. Another uncle of Rasulullah, his name is what? Abbas. He's in Mecca. Quote unquote, he's not Muslim. He's not showing his Islam. He's one of the best Muslim, actually, right? He's not showing his Islam. He's among the kuffar, but he's what? He's the one who's supporting Rasulullah inside. He's an insider, right? Maybe Rasulullah told him don't announce or anything, right? Many of these issues that he wanted to cause, he was the one who was, taking care of it. He sent a letter to Rasulullah very quickly. Says they have this plan. They want to attack you. This was a defensive war, right? They were defending themselves because they attack Medina. Uhud is close to Medina, right? So they wanted to attack. Anyhow, so Abbas is another great uncle of Rasulullah that, we have, but many people make a mistake that he was not Muslim. No, he was not showing Islam because of many reasons that happened. Anyhow, and in Quraysh, they reached the army of Kuffar. They reached Mountain Uhud, which is in the north of Medina, in the 5th of Shawwal of 3rd of Hijri. Okay. So when they got there, here's another important point. Well, Rasulullah, with less than 1,000 or 1,000 people of soldiers, he left to the region Uhud. So when the news came First and foremost, Rasulullah, when he got the letter, the history saying he was in one of the gardens of Medina, he didn't tell his soldiers what happened. When he reached Medina, he told them what happens. They're coming for war. So they made the council, the war council. Remember in Badr, we had this war. Rasulullah is aql kul, insan kamil. He knows everything. But at the same time, he said, no, make a council. We're going to make a mashfarat and consult with each other. What are your ideas? How important is this, right? Washawaru fil amr. You need to do mashfarat, counseling, consultation, talk to each other, get different opinions. What do you think about this? He could say, I'm the prophet, I received wahy, forget about it, right? In a family, the family are together, right? Yes, we have father, we have mother, children. Why don't we, in many, decisions, get together, decide, think, teach children. This is how it should be. We get together. So this is the sunnah of Rasulullah. In the war, Khandaq, we reach, inshallah, the same thing. He asked everybody's opinion. Anyhow, so group of people who, such as, Abdullah ibn Ubay, one of the hypocrites of Medina, they were saying, no, let's stay in Medina. Let them come to Medina city, and then we'll attack in the alleys and from the mountain, from the roofs, we will attack. Well, other groups like Hamza, Sayyid al-Shuhada, Amir, and others, was like, Talha, Zubair says, no, that's not Jawan Mardi, that's not good, that's not chivalry. We have to go out and fight them, because if we do that, that means we are scared. They're coming to our home, we're scared, so that's not nice. Anyhow, we have to go out and fight with them. Finally, Rasulullah, he said, okay, the majority were younger, they're saying to go out and braver. They went out in the Mantaqa of Uhud to fight with these people. Another point of this part of this history is that the age differences in the soldiers of Rasulullah when they came. We had some of them very young, teenagers. We had elders who came. Abu Dujana, if I say it correctly, he is very old. He had his son became shaheed in Badr. He's begging Rasulullah, please let me come. I know I'm not able to fight a lot, but please let me come so I can become shaheed and reach that maqam of shahadat. Who would say, what soldiers come and say, I want to become shaheed and be killed for the sake of Allah? Only and only those who fight for the sake of Allah, fi sabilillah, they have this idea. Other soldiers who is just based on whatever, the money or something, they never jeopardize their own life, unless there's some sacred bravery inside them and reasons to do that. One of these youth, very important, or younger ones, his name is Hanzala. Hanzala, he was in his 20s. He just got married before Uhud, right? The day that is very interesting part of the history. The day that the Muslims army, they left Medina, that night, it was his first night of marriage. Right? The Medina, so he came to Rasulullah, he's 20-something years old, just got married, right? Who would leave to go? No, I'm not going to go. He went to Rasulullah and asked Rasulullah, give me one night. Can you give me one night? Inshallah, tomorrow I'll join the army. Look at the iman of this person. He's not saying, I just got married, I'm excused, please don't worry. First and foremost, the ayah Quran was revealed for Hanzala, that people who come and ask for permission from Rasulullah, right? He could say, I don't care, I just got married. He's young. And Rasulullah told him, okay, one night you're exempt, go. The Muslims left. That night he was with his wife. Next day, he promised you have to go. Before he do the Qusl Janabat, he didn't have time because, he left to join the army of Rasul. When he became shaheed in that army, so his wife, when he was, he brought she brought 4 men as a shahid, as a witness that, my husband was with me last night and stuff like that. And she told him when he left, I saw the sky was open that night. Last night I had a dream, the sky was open, and he went to the sky, my husband. We have this such as great Sahabi as well among the Shuhada, right? Among Sahabi Rasulullah. So, and then when he became shaheed, Rasulullah says, I see the malaik are doing the qusl to Hanzala. Then he became famous of Hanzala, Qasilul Malaik. Hanzala, Rasulullah is saying, the Malaik did the ghusl. He left, he didn't have time to do ghusl because of Rasul, right? I saw that angels are giving ghusl to Hanzala, subhanAllah, right? Taking care of him. Look at the Iman. Who would do that at night? He leaves everything. All the dunya is in his house, right? God knows how what it took for him to become married, finally find the proper wife, and everything. He is living and putting everything behind for the sake of Islam. So when we, as followers of Ahlul Bayt, when we think about the history of Islam, let's not make a mistake. We're not talking about Sahabi, all they have issue. Yes, we have the Sahabi among them that they have issue, right? We'll bring the ayat of Quran, inshallah, right? We have munafiq, hypocrite, everybody among them, right? We have great Sahabi as well. These people who became shaheed for the sake of protecting Islam in the war, Badr, Ahad, Uhud, Khandaq, all this, they're among the best of Sahabi, right? They're shuhada of Islam. Otherwise, we wouldn't have them. We go to ziyarat of shuhada of Uhud, right? So we have to understand this part as well. Anyhow, in the 7th of Shawwal, the two armies, they faced each other. 5th, they went out. 7th, they reached. 7th, they faced each other in front of each other. So here is a very strategic point that I want to mention. It's very important. I want attention because the rest of the story of Uhud depends on what we're describing right now. And I want to show some pictures, inshallah. So Uhud, at that time, Uhud is a mountain, like series of mountains. So the north of Medina. South of Medina, everybody who wants to come to Medina from Mecca, they have to come from south. But south is very stony, they can't, the troops cannot come. It's very difficult. So they had to go from the north, which is series of Uhud, that area. So when the army of Rasulullah went to this region, their behind was the mountain of Uhud, right? On that side, there is a little mountain that the Uhud, the army of Quraysh, they could go around it and come behind the army of Islam. Let me actually show you the picture of that. So you see that? Yeah. So this is Uhud, Mountain Uhud, right? And this is where the Muslims were standing, the camp of Muslims. This is the camp of who? Kuffar and Quraysh. You see this little mountain here? So it was always a very dangerous strategic area that the kuffar could come from here, go around this mountain, this little hill or whatever it is, to come behind the Muslims. You see what it is? So Muslims cannot change the area. Why? Because before them, who got there? Kuffar got there, right? They couldn't change the area. They have to come. They're coming from here to come in front of them. So they have this here. So this is a very dangerous thing for Muslims because if they come from behind, they're done. What happened, Rasulullah, and let me show you some pictures, some of the pictures as well. So this is the Qabr of Hazrat Hamza before the Wahhabis destroy everything that they want to destroy. This is the Shuhada of Uhud, This is from, above that they took a picture. This is Mountain Uhud. So you see that this is the mountain that they were coming behind. We're Muslim here, right? Kuffar here. They could come around this. Of course, it's very small right now. It's like 1,400 years past, right? But that time was bigger. So they could come from behind to, attack Muslim from behind. This is Mantaghi Uhud right now. This is Jabal al-Rumah. This is where we are talking about, right? They could come from behind to attack Muslims. This is Qabr Hazrat Hamza here. I see the Muslims will go the ziyarat of Shuhada Uhud. Anyhow, so what happened here is that Rasulullah, he assigned who? Abdullah Jubair with 50 people, 50 of archers, to stand on top of this mountain, little mountain. If they want to attack from behind, they were just, shooting arrows. So they were kicking them out so they won't come behind. And a couple of times, Khalid ibn Walid is a very, big name. He wanted to attack from behind. Many times he tried. There's 50 people shooting arrow, defending the Muslims back so they wouldn't come from the back. So what happened here is this. They started fighting. The fight started. A lot of details here. I'm just skipping. The fight finally started. Rasulullah, he tried himself to encourage the Muslims. He always doing it psychologically, encourage them and spiritually encourage them, right? One of the things he did, he brought his sword. He grabbed his sword and he said, who would promise to fight with the sword and do the haqq of the sword? Many people stood up. We do it. One of the elder one, Abu Dujana stood up and says, what is the haqq of this sword? He said, Rasulullah says, fight with it until it bends. He said, I will do the haqq of this. And Rasulullah gave it. It's an honor, right? This sword of Rasulullah. He grabbed it and he did. Until the end, he stood with Rasulullah. He's a great person. Anyhow, so the war, when it started, first and foremost, 3,000-4,000 kuffar in front of who? Let's say 1,000 Muslims. By number, it doesn't make sense. But when you fight, remember, Badr is the same thing. But when you fight with Iman, you're always the winner. So they started doing, Amir al-Mu'minin himself alone, he killed 9 of the flag bearers of them. At that time, the war was like this. The most important person in the army was the one who was holding the flag. So Quraysh set 9 flag bearers. They said if he was killed, next one, all from one tribe, right? The most important one, the flag bearers, right? Most of the time, the flag bearers of army of Rasulullah is Amir al-Mu'minin as well. Amir al-Mu'minin himself, 9 of the flag bearers, all of them he killed. So what happened is that the army of Islam defeated Quraysh and Kuffar. In the first part of Uhud, they defeated them with the sacrifice of many of Sahabis, such as Amir al-Mu'minin, Zubayr, Abu Dujana, and many of them, right? So as soon as they defeated them, the Quraysh started running away. They know they can't do it. They started running away. Meantime, the women of Mughanniya, they started, oh, don't go back, come, we are here, fight. They're fighting, our life, they're attacking us. So they run away. Group of Muslims are following them. Listen, it's very important part of history. Group of Muslims are following them to make sure they're totally gone. The other groups have said, that's fine. They're going to attack. They're running away. We're going to stay here. We're going to collect the what? The spoils of war. They started collecting whatever, it was very famous at that time, the sword and spears or whatever they had, the shields. They started collecting. So when they started collecting, those 50 people on top of the mountains were like, oh my God, we're falling behind. Look, they're collecting. We have to go and do our own shit. You see, they're running away. So let's go. Abdullah Jubayr is telling them, Rasulullah, when he put this 50 people, he says, under no circumstances, you do not leave this position. Either we are defeated or we're the winner. Do not leave here. Look, Rasulullah, he is not just a spiritual leader. He is a war leader. He is a political leader. He is a strategist, everything. Like he knows what that means, this mantar in this area. He says, no matter what, you 50 people do not live here. As long as you listen to Rasulullah, you're winner in your life. If you go against the orders of Islam, Rasulullah, believe me and believe Islam, you will be defeated in your life. Right? Even if you are among the Muslims in the most important part, more than 70 people of the best of Muslims, including Hamza, were killed because of 40 of these 50, they left their position. Abu Dujana is saying, don't go. He says, come on, Rasulullah means during the war, they got defeated, so they left. They went down, came down from the mountain, climbed down to go grab whatever they wanted to collect. Only 10 left on the mountain. Guess what? Khalid ibn Abi Walid and Akramah, the son of Abu Jahl, they were ambushing. They knew this. They're very cunning. As soon as they saw this is happening, they went behind that mountain to show you, right? They came where? Behind the Muslim now. So Muslims are running towards the kuffar that they are running away. Now from behind, they're being attacked. By who? By Khalid ibn Walid, Mushrikeen, from the other side. So all of a sudden, what happens? It's a chaos. You don't expect that to happen, right? Left and right, they're being killed. And the whole, lines and all the strategies are all destroyed now. They don't know what to do, right? They're being attacked from behind. What's the worst thing that can happen? They started running away, Muslims. MashaAllah. When you leave, first they were winner. Why? Because they fought with Iman. As soon as they put the Iman down for the sake of dunya, look what happened. And Allah doesn't have to aruf. You do against Rasulullah's order, you're going to be defeated. Muslim, they run away. In our life, as long as we're following Islam, the orders of Islam, this war in our life is about the turbulences that we have every day with family, with financial, with academic, whatever we have. As long as we follow Islam, Imam Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam is saying, قُلِ الْحَقِّ وَلَوْ كَانَ فِيهِ حَلَاكُكَ وَإِنْ كَانَ فِيهِ نَجَاتُكَ. Say the haqq and truth, even if it's going to be against you. Even if it's going to be against you, say the haqq. Although halak means you will perish, you will be perished. Even if it's against you, it's going to hurt you, say the haqq. Although your najat is going to be in that. You're going to be saved by saying that haqq. You're not going to be hurt by saying haqq, right? Anyhow, so one of the kuffar, he attacked the flag bearer of Islam. He killed him, but Muslims were recovering their, niqab. They were covering their faces. He thought he killed who? Rasul. He started shouting, "Qutila Muhammad." Muhammad is killed. And a rumor circled around very quickly. Everybody's shouting, Muhammad is killed, Muhammad is killed. And guess what? How the Quraysh became so more powerful, the news they got, Muhammad is killed, and what happened to the army of? All running away. In here, Rasulullah himself, he's calling them. He's showing, oh, I'm alive, come back. The history is saying that, most of this history is from, history of Tariq al-Tabari, Ibn Hisham, from Ahl Sunnah, by the way. These things are from Tariq Ahl Sunnah. So Rasulullah is calling them with their name. Come back, come and help me. Some of the big names that Rasulullah is calling them, come back, support. Ilayya, come towards me. Some of the hadiths, they're running like a goat on the mountains. You see Rasulullah isn't. Look what this Quran says. Let's go to Quran. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Surah Al Imran. So no one will say where you're coming from. These things are coming from, right? Because some people, they would like to say all the Sahabi of Rasulullah are the best. All of them. بأيهم اقتديتم اهتديتم. Whoever from Sahabi you follow, you're going to find the truth and you're going to find guidance. No, it's not. This ayah Quran is from who? It's about who? Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Al Imran 153. What is it saying? Bismillah. إذ تصعدون ولا تلوون على أحد والرسول يدعوكم في أخراكم فأثابكم غما بغم لكي لا تحزنوا على ما فاتكم ولا ما أصابكم الله خبير بما تعملون. When you were going away, running away, to who is this saying? Not even turning to look at anyone, not even looking back, this Rasulullah is calling you, right? And the messenger was calling you from behind. Ayah Quran is saying, this is not hadith. وَالرَّسُولُ يَدْعُوكُمْ. The messenger is calling you from behind. You're still running away. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, gives you the sorrow for sorrow. More problem after more problem. So that you should not, and then yes, He's forgiving. You should not grieve over what you lost or for what you suffered. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's all aware of what you do. Some of the history saying that, after when the Rasulullah went back to Medina, he was like, saw some of those like goats, running away. It's like, you didn't have to go too far. You could stay there. You could save your life. Why you run on the other side of Medina? You're so scared, right? So another ayah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. إن الذين على إمران آية 155 إن الذين تولوا منكم يوم التقى الجمعان إنما استذلهم الشيطان ببعض ما كسبوا. Surely those of you who turn back on the day when the two troops face each other, Shaitan had but made them slip for some of their deeds. When someone can be deceived by Shaitan, that person cannot be the leader of the community. Because if once you can do this to put the life of Rasulullah in danger, to save your life, what takes to destroy Islam then? We're not saying it. Ayah Quran is saying, right? Istadallahum ash-shaytan. Shaitan caused this for them. Shaitan came to them. If for this important things, imagine, I want you to focus for a second, right? If we're in Uhud, inshallah, we'll be on the good side, right? And then we see the life of Rasulullah is in danger. They're killing Rasulullah. 4,000 people, they're attacking Rasulullah. Would you leave to save your life? And then how we can trust these people to be the successor of Rasulullah? However, Allah is forgiving them, forgiving them, and certainly Allah is the most forgiving and forbearance. Another ayah Quran, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وَمَا مُحَمَّدٌ إِلَّا رَسُولٌ قَدْ خَلَتْ مِنْ قَبْلِهِ الرُّسُلُ أَفَإِنْ مَاتَ أَوْ قُتِلَ انقلبتم على أعقابكم. When that happened, Ibn Hisham is saying, Tariq Ibn Hisham, the history of Ibn Hisham, he said, it was one of the Sahabis came to one of those who were running away. I don't want to mention the names again. He said, hey, Rasulullah is calling. He said, no, we have to go save our lives, right? He said, okay. He said, Rasulullah is dead. He said, okay, Rasulullah is dead. Allah is not dead. This is the army of Islam, not the army of Rasulullah, right? He told them, go back and support Islam. He said, no, Rasulullah is dead. Look what Islam, Quran is saying. Muhammad is but a messenger. He's a messenger. There have been messengers before him. So if he dies or is killed, would you turn back? Did you go back to what your father should become, but Paras and Mushrik again? Right? So that's when we put together these things, many things will become more obvious for us that what happened, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is alive, even if Rasulullah is killed. So with one rumor, you're going to turn around, change your iman, your beliefs. That was a big source of test for Muslims at that time. Who left? Only 8 people left with Rasulullah. 3 of them, Imam Ali والسلام, Talha and Zubayr from the immigrants from Mecca to, and 5 of them from Ansar of Medina. Only 8, with one of the ladies as well. We'll talk inshallah. We don't have time in the next session, inshallah. In one of the ladies as well who stood with Rasulullah. The rest of all, inshallah, and this 8 stood, all of them to support the life of Rasulullah. We'll talk more about this, inshallah. On top of all, Amir al-Mu'minin, Imam Ali, salatu wassalam. That this 8, they put their life, everything in danger for the sake of support. Imagine from that close to 1,000 people, 8 left. And they fought and attacked. Imagine how many are the kuffar? These 8 people. And others on the mountain, they're watching. Or they're running away. So we'll talk inshallah. This is where Amir al-Mu'minin, he showed that bravery, that Jawan Mardi, that famous thing that Jibreel came and said, La fata illa Ali, la sayf illa Zulfaqar. There's no Jawan Mard except Amir al-Mu'minin. There's no safe except Zulfaqar of Ali. That after the war, when he came back, they were saying wherever part of his body that they were sewing, that it was ripped. For example, they wanted to sew this part, the other part was getting ripped. More than 70 injuries he had and cut in his body, right? This Imam, this Amir al-Mu'minin, this Fatah Jawan Mad, he's saying that wherever it was becoming so difficult, Rasulullah was protecting us and supporting us. We were behind Rasulullah. Who is Rasulullah? Imagine. He was the one who protected us as well. Whenever it becomes so difficult, the war, he was leading, he was showing. We talk about it, how 5 people, they decided to go to Rasulullah. One of them, broke his tooth of here, broke his forehead and everything for the sake of this Quran that me and you, we have today. For the sake of this salah that we pray. Allah knows, just like, because of this courses, I go a lot to that history, to that mood of history. If you picture it, and imagine how many people were suffered, including Rasulullah. We're suffered. Hazrat Zahra at home, worrying, family, what's going to happen to Rasulullah, right? Suffered for the sake of this Quran and this Islam and this namaz that we have in front of us. Is this Quran that's been gifted to us, and now we have it in peace? Is it just on the shelf at home? Or is it in the center of our lives? Or we're following it every day? This many people were suffered for that sake. Our job is to honor that by following it. We'll talk more about, inshallah, what happened after that and the scenario and situation and the, other aspects of, inshallah, the war Uhud, which became, again, one of the most important, experiences of Muslim, to see that as long as you follow what you need to follow, everything is good. If you go against Rasulullah, Allah, even if you're Muslim, even this is the most important part of the history of Islam, you'll be defeated as well. We mentioned in what happened, how the Quraysh treated Muslim, and what happened after, inshallah, in the next session. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farajhum. Allahumma ajil waliyaka al-faraj wal-afiyata wal-nas wa mudja fi umrihi al-sharif wa zayyin al-ardha bituli baqa'ih waj'alna min a'wanihi wa ansarihi wa shi'atihi ya Rahman ya Rahim thabbit qulubana ala dinik. بحق الحسين, Ya Allah, hasten the dhuhr of our Imam Mahdi. Let us and our family, our generation, ila yawm al-qiyamah, strong in the path of Quran, Islam, and Ahlul Bayt. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, do not let anyone from our generation against this path. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, around the world, our brothers and sisters who are under difficulties, issues. Bihaq Muhammad wa Muhammad, provide opportunities for their freedom. Those who have hajat and requests, my dear respected brothers and sisters in this majlis and whoever is hearing us and listening to us, Ya Allah, Muhammad, give them all their khair hajat. Remove this bala and conditions around the world and let everyone, including mu'mineen and mu'minat especially, back to their normal life. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, those who are sick, Muhammad wa Muhammad, cure them, and those who passed away, send the thawab and reward from our gathering to their soul. رحم الله من يقرأ الفاتحة مع الصلوات.